Hello and welcome into the Sad Fan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made us sad. I am the Sad Fan this week. Oregon put it on UCLA. So I'm sure I have something coming my way. We'll see. That I have to pay up my bet for. But yeah, I mean, we put it out there. I think the better team lost. I mean, won. But yeah, it was a good time to do the flying V out there for the Oregon Ducks. They definitely put the triple deke on us there in that game.
In the ugliest uniforms possible.
Yeah, no, I mean, Chip Kelly.
I was kind of coming around by the end of the game, but at first I was like, what is this? But I think they should have just stuck with all black and pink.
Yep, same.
But
well, I guess Chip Kelly didn't plan well enough because they knew that we always go glove side. Some of you that are paying attention have caught on. I'm just throwing out Mighty Ducks things. I don't want to talk about the Oregon Ducks, but I know I'm going to have to. So I was trying to make it palatable for myself there by just talking about the Mighty Ducks, something we can all love.
No.
Because that game was really hard to watch for me. But let's start where we always start, what made us sad. I will go with Brittany Griner's plea getting denied. They maintained her sentence of 9 years for literally the most minimal amount of hash oil, not even actual cannabis, that you could. And Wes and I have talked about this, and I know Chelsea, this is her first time on this subject on the pod. But essentially what I said, Chelsea, in our pod a couple weeks ago, or months ago at this point, was essentially she's a prisoner of war. And that's all they're doing because there's no reason for her not to be extradited back to the United States outside of Russia's mad at us for putting embargoes on them for attacking a country. So I don't know where you guys stand on that, but I thought that was pretty heartbreaking that it's just literally she's a prisoner of war and they're just using her to get, the merchant of death out of U.S. custody.
Right. And it clearly is one of those political maneuverings. I mean, unfortunately, as sad as it is to see that, she wasn't able to appeal her sentence, that it's still really frustrating, but it's expected, unfortunately. And I mean, I'm just going to use little platform here. If you are traveling abroad, check with the State Department. And the only time I will ever tell anyone to just submit to government tracking is to register your itinerary with the State Department. So that way, if anything goes sideways, they know immediately where you are. Things happen so quickly, and it's really hard to watch the news when you're living in a foreign country or just visiting. You don't know when something happens and the whole situation around you changes. Just do it. The State Department website's right there. And if anything ever happens, find the consulate or embassy. They are there to help you. Yeah, I mean, clearly this is all a political ploy, and it's really sad because she's never going to be the same person. She's being sent to a penal colony where she will be required to do heavy forced manual labor for 9 years. And I mean, even an athlete, we don't know what they're feeding her. We don't know how they're treating her, corporal punishment she's receiving, that kind of thing. The abuses go on and on. She is a known... She's married. She has a wife. She's a known lesbian in a country that has said they want to eradicate all gay people. So, I mean, there's a lot of concern for her. And you're right. It's just going to be trading POWs, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, like I said, they're looking at her as a trade partner for the merchant of death is who Russia wants back. Mm-hmm. And one of these things is not like the other. Go ahead, Wes. You look like you were going to say something.
I was going to say, I wouldn't have expected anything else from Russia, given the political climate. I would have been shocked if they reduced her sentence at all. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but nothing we can do.
Diplomatic channels are still open and that something can be negotiated. If not today, then soon.
Yeah,
sooner
and
better.
That was sad news that came out just before we're recording this. So that came out in the States Tuesday afternoon. That news came out from abroad. And speaking of political movements, Ted Cruz, huh, Chelsea, tried to make a little appearance at a Yankees game.
Yeah. So as I was telling you guys earlier, I didn't even notice that he was in the at the Yankees game. He was sitting right behind home plate, and I just saw some Astros fans. And then I was on Twitter. Someone pointed it out, and then I couldn't unsee this guy. And as soon as I saw someone pointed it out, he shoves a big hot dog in his mouth, like. He's so disgusting. So gross. And then just literally lifts his sleeve, uses the whole back of his arm and his hand to wipe off the mustard or what else he had on it, and then just swigs back a beer. And I was like, that's so gross. It's so gross. It put me in such a bad mood for the rest of the game. And just...
Even after they booed him out
with his fellow Texan.
you were still in a bad mood. I agree with you, Wes. But you were still in a bad mood after he was booed out of the stadium, given double middle fingers by a billion people and things like that.
Those are my people. Those are my people.
But was the game in Houston or in New York?
Oh, it was in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That explains why I got booed out.
New York.
Yeah, he was booed out of the stadium.
No, he stayed the whole game.
I stopped watching the baseball.
The baseball.
Yeah, I stopped watching the baseball. I was like, I'm fucking done with this. So.
I think it was a tie game when Ted Cruz left, if I'm not mistaken, because I think he got a lot of flack. Lots of people were making fun of him. They're like, who leaves a tie game in the fourth or fifth inning or something like that?
Well, based on his continuous beer count that I saw, he probably just had to pee because he did come back. He was there for the rest of the game.
Okay, gotcha.
Politicians do have to pee, Fry.
Oh, fair enough. That's true.
They don't get golf carts to carry them away.
Did you hear? Speaking of that, we're gonna get to what made West Side here in just a second. Speaking of that, did you guys watch Red Zone at all? By the way,
no.
Okay. So that's essentially my primary way of absorbing the NFL, so I can kind of take in every single game.
Oh, someone has ADD.
Yeah, right. Unless it's the Raiders game. The Raiders game is the only football game, unless it's a really, really good game, that I'll watch all the way through, and it's very rare for us to get a really great game this early. And plus, remember, they're on so late that it's just easier for me to stay up and watch it. Everything. There's a lot of stimuli going on. When he was carted off for his knee injury, which I'm sad about. Luckily, there was no structural damage to DK Metcalf's knee. He's one of my favorite receivers in the NFL. The announcers were like, well, we see there that DK is getting carted off, and we don't want to make any assumptions because, as some of you have seen, he was carted off last week or a couple weeks ago for having to use the restroom. So let's not jump to any conclusions on this one. And I was like, yes, that's amazing.
So that's some good sportscasting right there.
It was perfect. It was right on the spot. But outside of DK Metcalf now confusing us for the next 10 years or so, whenever he gets on a car, is he got to go number 2 or what's happening? Is he actually injured? Let's wait and find out if he makes it back to the field. Is that mud? No, never mind. We won't go there. So, Wes, what made you sad this week?
Well, not much made me sad, but I'm going to go to College Game Day and Lee Corso. I've been watching Lee Corso come to Eugene for game days for a while now. And it's just sad to see him kind of declining a little bit. And when he put on, or right before he put on the duck head, he said, well, I don't really have much else to say, but I love you, to the duck, to the mascot. And that just that broke my heart, because that might be the last time that he ever interacts with the mascot on game day. So
yeah, it's such a small thing, but it's such a wholesome college moment, and makes you kind of just cheer a little bit harder for college football. At least I know I do, than some of the pros who are there just so they don't get fined. But I have a feeling we're going to talk about that guy later. Yeah, no, I mean, if he was my grandpa, I just want him to be home, comfortable. Yeah, living the good life for the last little bit. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a change not seeing his face on the TV.
I do think that ESPN's kind of planning for that. I think that's why we have Pat out there now. I think
I love
Pat
Pat.
McAfee. Yeah.
That is like the best like sports like entertainment like personality like going right now. Like everything he does is great. Like College Game Day, his podcast or his show, it's gold. Everything he touches is gold right now.
So his show hashtags though are always something really weird, but they always start with like PMS, the Pat McAfee show. And so every time I'm just like, what the fuck does that have to do with like my mental, like what is going on? And then I'm like, oh,
I can't let it go that you made him. Wait, I can't let it go that Chelsea just made him ultra Irish. If when people listen to this, just rewind it about 30 seconds. And Chelsea made Pat McAfee insanely Irish by making him Pat McAfee. Like, made him the most Irish punter ever in the history of football. That was awesome. I'm sorry. That's why I apologize, Chelsea. And now we're throwing up because you were making a fantastic point because that hashtag is hilarious. But that's not what I was laughing because you made him insanely Irish. Like, straight out, working on the railroad. Irish.
Do you guys remember like Bo Burnham's like and Shaquille O'Neal like when they tried yeah, sorry.
No, it was fantastic. But yeah, in that vein of companies not hiring a workforce, regardless of age, that can relate to their more youthful workforce. Leadership that can relate to their more youthful workforce. It looks like ESPN is kind of doing that, and it makes sense that they would. Because they're a media organization, right? So they need to relate to younger fans. They need to do something to bring in younger fans. And what Wes said probably stands true with a lot of college football fans where they really enjoy Pat McAfee or McAfee, however you choose to go about it. But they do, and he does make College Game Day fun, whether it's backflipping into the river in Tennessee or hanging out with the duck in Oregon. He is making it an event that we can all relate to, and he understands that the way to be popular in today's society, whether you want to get on board or not, it's going viral. Like, you don't have to get on board, but you will get left behind, and he finds ways to go viral. And we'll probably go viral because we just got a close-up look to Wes's brain because he just showed us right in the camera. It was pretty amazing. I didn't have enough time to even go away from it. It was just right there. I just saw, his entire brain.
It's a pretty spectacular thing.
Outside of what made us sad, there was a lot that happened in college football as recent as yesterday or this evening, pardon me, for those of you on the West Coast. Wes, what were you telling us in the production meeting is going on in college football right now?
Well, there's a lot. So let's see. I think it was 3, maybe 4 Texas A&M players that are indefinitely suspended for smoking weed in the locker room before the game against South Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it. Like, I'm totally on board with smoking weed. But, like, in the locker room before a game? Bro.
Yeah, in 2 states where it's not legal. Like,
I was gonna say, I don't think it's legal in Texas yet either.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely not legal in Texas. I know that for sure. But
I think Jimbo's not long for this world, right? He's gonna have to get up on the press conference and be like, "Well, they were smoking that devil's lettuce, and that's just not something we stand for here at Texas A&M. And perhaps we should go back out there on the field and continue trying to figure out how to win games before they terminate my contract." But outside of making fun of Jimbo Fisher, who now we know is not responsible for the recruits they get, as their pay stubs just incense Nick Saban with anger when they see how much Texas A&M is paying for players. You can't lose your locker room completely and not win.
Just ridiculous. Like, there's just...
I mean, yeah,
I don't know.
Another coach is losing their locker room. Another coach
I was
is
just going to say,
losing
weed
their
isn't a performance in
Chelsea, you go ahead, and then Wes will go. You go ahead and finish your point, and then Wes will go.
All I was trying to say is that weed isn't even a performance-enhancing drug. Why would you do it before a game? It slows down reaction time, everything. Like...
There's a mute button, Wes. So if you ever need to sneeze or cough, you hit that mute button like I do when I'm clearing my throat. It's amazing. Bless
Hey,
you.
don't tell me what to do. How about that? Okay? Yeah, don't tell me what to do. Another coach who's losing their locker room, though, is Brian Harsin. He's already had like a few players enter the transfer portal this year, and including Bo Nix from last year, who's doing great, by the way. I'm going to say it. He's a good quarterback. Screw you, Fry.
Not a good quarterback.
He's
Still not a great
he's
person.
telling players now, basically, like either the only way you're allowed to redshirt this year is like for medical reasons. Otherwise, you can just enter the transfer portal and leave. And they've already had a couple players enter the transfer portal, and I think he's lost the team, and he'll be gone soon enough. But you know what? Matt Rule's out there.
For those of you not doing the math, he's referring to Auburn's head coach. That is Auburn's head coach. And, I mean, it's been a dumpster fire in Auburn since Gene Chizik was there. I mean, sure, I guess Gus Malzahn did his thing for a little while, but they've never been the same team since Gene Chizik was there. And I don't think it's because he was a good coach. I think he just happened to cross Cam Newton, right? Like, that's essentially what happened. Is he got a 6'6" machine at quarterback and that no one could stop.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chelsea. What were you going to say?
But telling players that they can't have a redshirt year is not how you get recruits either, because that's supposed to be that whole transition year of like being able to just get into college, adjust to it, like figure your life out as an independent adult, and also play football at a very high level. So, I mean, why would you do that? Just it makes no sense.
At the same time, though, like if your coach wants you to play, you play.
Well, if you have to burn your red shirt because of like a lack of depth in the position, that is one thing. Like that is completely different. And also, yes, if you come into college and you're ready to play, but like it's kind of evaluated like right as you're going into the season, right? So it's there for like player protection and also, you know,
So Wes and I thought about this last week because he's like on the side of development and so am I. Like I came across like I wasn't when I was listening back, and I am on the side of development. And I want to make that clear with this statement. Redshirting is also a way to build depth on your football team, like quality depth. If you can redshirt players, that gives them an extra year of eligibility when perhaps that freshman year their body wasn't ready. They're not prepared properly for what they're about to do mentally, and it gives that extra year of cushion, and it can create great players who gain more experience in that year. Because redshirt players practice still, they go through walkthroughs, they do film study, so they do everything. They get in the weight room. They just don't see the field, and that gives them that extra year. So you could actually have a fifth-year senior, a traditional fifth-year senior, play football, and we see success with that at the college level. I stand by what I said. It's the exception, not the rule in the NFL. We don't see a lot of, quarterbacks that are significantly older in today's NFL be successful. But in college, I mean, it really can differentiate your team from other teams. Look at what Hooker's doing in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like, he looks great. Look at Sam Hartman. I think he's a senior. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's a senior at Wake Forest. And he just destroyed Boston College this week. 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Wake Forest is ranked, which is wild. That's in itself, that's wild.
I don't know.
And it's all due to him being a great quarterback, and no one's talking about him. Everybody's on CJ Stroud, and I don't need to do another show about how Ohio State quarterbacks are consistently overrated, and it's basically Texas Tech. They don't work out in the NFL, ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yep.
Not a single one. I defy you. Go back and find me an Ohio State quarterback that was good in the NFL. Braxton Miller couldn't even play wide receiver in the NFL. So they just never work out. But yeah, you got CJ Stroud, you got Bryce Young, you've got Hooker at Tennessee, and these are the quarterbacks everyone's talking about. And meanwhile, Sam Hartman, maybe 2 losses. I got to look. And he's just trudging along, putting up crazy numbers, looking good against whoever he plays. And I dig that. I hope he gets more visibility, maybe through an NIL deal. But before there were NIL deals, golly, say that 5 times fast. Before there were NIL deals, there were duffel bags of cash in players' rooms, right, Wes?
Yeah. Yeah, Lindell White was on I think he was with Barstool today, and he was telling the guys that the most he ever found was when he moved into his first apartment at USC. he found a duffel bag full of 150 G's in like hard cash, like rubber banded together and everything. Just like sitting there for him.
What's that when adjusted for inflation today?
$17.
A lot more, but yeah. No,
equivalent, like 500,000 probably. But yeah, it was the Wild West back then. I mean, that was the same time as Reggie Bush, and we all knew Reggie Bush was getting paid. So is it really a surprise that Lindell White was getting paid? No.
Yeah, that it was down the roster, not just one guy, but
it's just funny seeing all these guys now come out and talk about it. Like now that NIL is out, like there's a lot more guys that are coming out talking about all the crap that was going on back then.
I mean, people forget how stacked that defense was too. You had Raymond Luega, Sean Cody. You had Troy Polamalu was on those teams. Yeah, Troy Polamalu was on those teams. Marcus May was on those teams. Like that.
Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews. Yeah. Wasn't Carpenter on that team as well? That team was stacked. And Clay Matthews, I don't think even was like one of their main linebackers. I think
he wasn't.
Brian Cushing was on that team, right? Like that team was stacked. All right, like it wasn't. So let's just stop with the Matt Leinarts, Carson Palmers, Mike Williams. Like no, that team was stacked from the ground up, and we're seeing that's how you build the team is backroom deals, under the table cash. I'm not sure if he should have done that and said exactly how much money he got because the IRS will come knocking regardless of statute of limitations. They might be like, but they give you cash, right?
No,
it's not listed as tips. So
7 years.
7 years.
So
there you go.
Can only go back 7 years.
Sorry, Wesley Snipes.
There you go. He's safe.
So he's good to go. And that's our New York financial expert. And they never do anything wrong with financials in New York. We know that.
The statute of limitations is 7 years unless the money was acquired in the act of a crime that has not yet also met statute of limitations. But yes, otherwise 7 years.
So he's good. He's off the hook. And now that we have NIL deals, there's some things that make you uncomfortable about NIL deals, right, Chelsea? We were saying earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's something to be said about like the lack of, equity across how these deals are done, not just, across like just college football in general, but I mean, what does that mean for a school, where you have like, let's say Alabama football is really like their only standout sport there. But so, I mean, like, are the softball players getting NIL deals? Like, are there, people on the soccer team that are getting these deals? Like, what do these deals look like? They're not getting the State Farm kind of money, that, and
is he doing State Farm? I thought he was doing Nissan Heisman House.
Well, he's doing Nissan Heisman House, but I feel like he was on State Farm. I'm not sure. I don't really care. But he's doing like national commercials, right? Whereas like I've seen some of these deals where it is like, here's a college athlete like going for the nearest like chicken hut, Yeah.
Like,
hey, cool. And it's like, okay, well, nice. You did your little promo spot. But really, when it comes down to it, the types of players that are getting targeted for these NIL deals already have scholarships. They already have their housing paid for. They already have their meals taken care of, usually through the athletic department covering all of this. And there are still plenty of kids on even Alabama's football team who are not on scholarships, who are not receiving the same kinds of like living stipends that these guys are receiving. So, I mean, how do you even make it fair? Like, how do you make it make sense to everyone else? And I don't know if that's like pooling the money or if it's saying, if X percent of like one team has an NIL deal, like you've got to figure out how to like spread the love around because I mean, boosters of the university own how many local businesses, how many chicken huts and car dealerships and, whatever. Something, I don't know. It feels, there's still something kind of like ick about the way the NIL is constructed right now.
I think we're going to have that for a while, though. I think right now, this is the best world we can create. The players have deserved some form of compensation because they've already overcharged to go to these
Yeah.
to go to some of these.
To be clear, I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying, like, let's spread the love. Let's spread the peanut butter a little bit further.
Well, the good thing is it also allows these players to make money, kind of invest in themselves and make money off of their own name. Like, they can do their own thing and get money that way by, like, using their status in the school. Like, they can do, like, a YouTube or whatever, like, about, like, them, like, and they can get paid for it.
Yeah, and honestly, the name, image, likeness deal, it is, yes, you're right, Chelsea, a bulk of the money that the school is going to go chase is going to go to the big name players. But there is no reason, as we've talked about, the LSU gymnast and some other famous figures on Instagram and TikTok, where they can now get paid to be sponsored. They don't have to fall under the fake flag of amateurism to get paid.
Yeah.
It's on them. They can do whatever it takes to get their money, to get their bag, and it's not against the rules anymore. They're not going to get disqualified from NCAA competition. So hopefully that continues to take off. I mean, it should. I think if we were to really look at YouTube receipts, Instagram receipts, TikTok receipts on how much these people get paid, I would say women out earn men on these platforms. And I might be reaching there just based on what I see in front of me, but I don't think that's far-fetched. I think even on podcasts, the Who's Your Daddy podcast, she made a fortune. I can't remember her name, but she made a fortune when she got signed.
But I mean, the thing is like, you know, everyone tries to be an influencer.
Yeah.
But like, and tries to get these deals and stuff like that. But like, the reality is you still have to have the looks. You have to have the aesthetic. You have to have the face and the voice and the, you know, the ability to like pose yourself and the willingness to like Photoshop yourself and edit yourself until you're basically unrecognizable. And that's all I've seen from, unfortunately, you know, what I've looked at on social media, like actually looking at it critically, including, you know, some people that I've known in my life, like former friends and stuff like that. But like, you know, and good for them. But saying that, you know, like, oh, like, it'll be fair for women because they can go get money, it's not the same. And also a lot of
that's not what I was saying. Please.
Well, no, I know.
I just said I think they out-earned men. I just said I think they out-earned men.
No, but
I'm sorry, I just did that one really quick.
The other thing too is like to be paid per post, right?
Pitchforks.
Like, it's most often like very small dollar amounts, like, you know, a couple $100 here or like a comp goodie bag or something like that. It takes a lot of reach and a lot of influence to actually be paid like Kardashian money per post, right? It's not going to happen for most people.
Yeah.
Like, and
it's a slow burn. Like, I know that we're doing our best to promote our podcast and our world here and some of the other things we do. I suck at Instagram. I'm going to admit it. Like, I need help there. My Instagram's not great. My Twitter game's okay, but even there, I only have like 150 followers or somewhere around there, right? And the show page only has a few because Twitter's a bunch of dicks, and they shut down the original page. But outside of that, I had to build up a whole new page. So you're right. This game's not easy to get into, and I don't think that's why we're doing it. I mean, hopefully that's an end game because we'd like to bring this show to people. I'd love to work daily because there's so much to go over even now that I'm having to cut stuff as we're moving forward because we've got about 10 minutes left in our show. And I'm looking at my list. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of stuff we're not going to get to in today's show. And I think you're right, absolutely. But it's better than having nothing out there is what I'm saying. And the reason I said, I want to be clear, as Wes said, pitchforks. The reason I said I think it's an arena where women out-earn men is because, Chelsea, you made the point that certain players, you said softball players, if they utilize those other arenas to their advantage, Instagram, TikTok, at least they're not getting left out and they're going to bring more visibility to themselves. And perhaps the boosters will see them is where I'm going with that. So I apologize if it came across that way is what I was saying. But no, I was just saying, in order to get paid, you need to get visibility in the sport that Chelsea was bringing up. And unfortunately, sadly, especially women's sports, they don't get a lot of visibility from the universities. And we've all seen, if you provide these sports with visibility, we will watch, regardless of the gender.
Right.
Like the college softball World Series does crazy numbers on ESPN. Like people
On
watch
ESPN,
that,
yeah.
you know. And whenever the WNBA is on or the NWSL is on, people watch. Like it does
People
numbers.
watch.
We will watch what you promote, but you've got to actually put it on. And if you don't put it on, we won't see. And perhaps through these social media platforms no longer being outlawed for these athletes to make money, they can get people to watch and bring visibility to their sport. Now, really quick, I only want to do about 5 minutes here, but somebody that's trying to bring visibility using sports, maybe for different reasons, right? We've talked about it through sports washing, is Qatar, and they want us to look past some of the not so great things they've done with media or journalism in their country, not so great things they've done with females in their country, perhaps, not so great things they've done with labor in their country, perhaps, and they want to use the World Cup to get past this. But they're still doing some pretty different, is what we'll call it, things, right? So are you guys aware of the tracking that's going to be going on during the World Cup?
Nope.
Only from what you've shown me, and then reading into some of the comments. And I actually haven't been to Doha. Like, I just put that out there, but I have been through the Middle East, and without my consent, I was enrolled into a certain country's tracking program that involved something with my passport and something with me having to throw my contact lenses out in the airport. I had to actually take them out of my eyes, and they scanned my retinas. And then I had to scan them at other places. It was very, very odd.
Wow. Yeah. And in order to go to this World Cup, even as a fan, you have to download 2 apps onto your cell phone so they can track you. Haya and Etheraz. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Etheraz.
And probably Etheraz.
But if you don't have these two and you have or if you have your location settings off, they will not allow you to go to the games. You are not allowed, not even in the fan villages, if you're not being tracked. And I will say, like, even when I was doing the podcast in Bahrain with you guys, in Bahrain, I couldn't upload our podcast without my VPN on. And if I was to not turn my VPN on the American areas, so like the embassies and the bases, if I didn't turn my VPN on, you can't turn on your VPN in country. You cannot do it. It will not turn on. It's blocked. So you have to be on our state internet, so United States internet somewhere, in order to even activate the VPN. Because I had to disable my VPN to get into something on base, forgot to turn it back on, got back to my hotel, could not turn it on, no VPN.
Jeez.
So yeah, they're all over you there. World Cup is in November. I know it's going to be hard for some people to watch, to look past. I will tell you, it is the greatest sporting event in the whole world. Okay, yes, football is the greatest sporting event in America, but the World Cup is the greatest sporting event in the world. It's very sad. I'm not going to say that. I don't want to judge a nation of people by what we see on the media, because I'm going to tell the truth. In Bahrain, I had a fantastic time. People were very nice to me. The locals were fantastic with me. Like, I don't, but there are things that these places are known for that aren't exactly flying with great colors as far as the human rights aspect of it is concerned. Go ahead.
Just like in the United States, you have to separate the politics from the people, the government from the government actions from what the people are actually like. You know, not everyone believes in what this administration is doing, for better or for worse, and previous administration, for better or for worse. But you know, I also had a great time in the Middle East. It's some of my favorite food. I miss it so much. But like, you know, they have been taking a very, very, very hard line against some things, and especially with tensions rising in Iran. Like, a lot of these countries are going to be cracking down even further, whether you like it or not, because they don't want, once there's a push somewhere against these very strict dictatorial regimes, especially those that follow, you know, the guise of religion and, you know, all of that, no one likes it. None of their neighbors like it. They don't want the revolution spreading past Iran. They don't want it to come to where they are. So I think that this is going to be very brutal for a lot of people. And this might be one of those areas where, like, the U.S. government may not be able to help you if you are there.
Yeah,
you should still register your trip, but they might not be able to help you.
And a lot of Americans are being told not to go to the World Cup, by the way. Lots of Americans are and Americans still trying to figure out a way to protest certain things that are going on. I know England is putting a patch on their jersey. I can't go. I'm going to go to the next one in America.
Yes.
But I mean, like, I'm American, so perhaps other countries see it exactly as we're seeing what we're saying. On to really quick touches on the NFL. It wasn't a super fun NFL weekend, but welcome back, Tua.
Yeah. Some of the best teams would have bye weeks. It was the Eagles had bye weeks, the Bills had a bye week. It was a little bit of a letdown, but
it was a little not for you, Gino.
Seahawks win.
Gino rolling into Los Angeles.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of a trivia question for you guys. Okay, so there's 4 games this week. So Ravens, Buccaneers, Seahawks versus Giants, 49ers versus Rams, and Packers versus Bills. Only one of those games is between 2 winning teams. Which one is it?
The Giants game.
Seahawks.
Yeah, Giants, Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we know... If you asked us before the season, Wes, we would be like, no idea, like no way. We would say that's going to be the worst game of this week.
That's crazy.
Where did the Giants come from? Can anyone tell me?
They come from New York.
Good. I just don't think they're. No, they don't. They come from New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
They share a stadium with the Jets, and that is pathetic.
There's only one team in New York, and lots of people forget that. There's only one football team that plays in New York, and that is the Buffalo Bills.
Let's
Bills. The Bills. Shut up.
Oh, my God. Russell Wilson.
If Russell Wilson was the Jets. Giants country, let's stop.
I think he's so cringeworthy. He would just be like, Jets country, vroom. he's so ridiculous.
Country, prepare for takeoff.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I felt the tears in Adam Scheffler's statement about why Russell Wilson couldn't. Guys, I tried so hard. They had to keep me off the field. I was like, hold me back, bro. Hold me back. Like, shut up, Russell. Shut up already. Enough already.
Let's pillage.
You know what they say? They say an autumn wind is a raider, and I like to think of myself as autumn wind. What are you even saying, Russell? What are you even saying? Now, outside of that, Joe Burrow's for real. I'm sorry. Like, he is that dude. No offensive line. No, like, just him, Jamar Chase, Boyd, and Higgins are that offense. Because Joe Mixon is down this year, too, because there's no offensive line. So they're not even just that offense. They're that whole team because the defense isn't great either. And Joe Burrow is just almost 500 yards, 5 touchdowns again. Each one of his receivers was over 100 yards. I think T. Higgins was just under 100 yards. Like, he's that dude. And on the flip side of that, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is good. And I'm very confused because it doesn't look like he can play. I don't know. Is it Jacksonville? Is he just getting Jacksonville?
I think it's Jacksonville.
It's place is
Go
terrible.
ahead, Chelsea.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's got to be the town.
It's
bad.
got
to be something in the water.
He's so bad. It's like he can't throw anymore. It's weird. Like, it blows my mind. I mean, he made a great throw at the end of the game, obviously, that the Giants literally stopped by a yard who caught that ball? Christian Kirk. It was literally like he was stopped by his back. If his back was turned the other way, that ball's over the goal line and the Jags win, and perhaps I'm having a different conversation. But he also doesn't look good, and it's just baffling to me. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, what is going on there? Age?
Not good.
Yeah, right? Aaron Rodgers is complaining about everything. But
Aaron Rodgers probably still has COVID toe.
Yeah, right. He got or he's got the black lung, Pa. The black lung.
My COVID toe.
So one thing, though, the Browns lost.
Yeah, and in another painful way. Like, please just keep losing in the most painful way.
I mean, how much just torture do you want to inflict on those poor fans?
As much as possible, thank you.
Screw the team.
Yeah.
And
what they
fans.
did, hiring Deshaun Watson to be their quarterback was disgusting during everything. Making him the highest paid quarterback throughout this whole thing was disgusting. And then, you weren't on the show, I don't think, Chelsea. I informed Wes. Wes found out about this for the first time. I had to Google it. The fans set up a massage table outside the stadium during tailgating, and the massage table had a boner sticking straight up into the air with a Deshaun Watson jersey draped over it, and then people had signs saying, "She's lying. It's not illegal to ask for a happy ending." And I'm just like, that whole sports town can just disappear. I can't deal with it.
Okay, can you just cut my shocked approval?
Yeah.
No, so, never mind. I'm done.
Yeah. They can suffer.
Team.
They can all those fans can suffer. I know they're not all bad, and we just did a whole segment on let's not loop everyone in because of the actions of one. But
you know
right now,
that's what you get for being a Browns fan.
Yeah, the way to stay classy, you're getting what you deserve. Hopefully, they do the right thing and cut Deshaun Watson. We'll see. He had another trial come out another trial has been filed against him as of last week.
Lawsuit.
It's in the news. Yeah, it's in the news this week. He's refuting the charges in this one as well. Like I said before, it could be up to 65 women. It could be up to 65 women. We're getting close to time. Allegedly, it could be allegedly up to 65 women that have come forward or that have said something. We're only at I think 28 that have said something.
How did I miss this? I know I was sick and on my deathbed for 2 weeks, but how did I miss all?
Yeah, it was pretty gross. Yeah, it was all over Twitter.
Okay.
People were really grossed out. I was grossed out. And then of course we saw the picture of the fan with his son holding up he has his son holding up a sign that talks about misogyny and it's derogatory towards women. I mean, and it's a kid. And we wonder why we're raising such shitheads, for lack of a better word, and it's because of you. It's because of the parents. You're doing dumb things, and why do women keep getting mistreated? Because of you, sir. Because of you. Because now your son thinks that this is the way it's okay to treat women. So
yeah, hashtag believe women.
Yeah,
please.
So thank you, Chelsea. As you can see, she's on our side. Browns fans can lose like that for all of eternity. If they do the right thing, perhaps I'll change my position. But the second he touches the field, I think this will be my position for at least the next 5 to 10 years. I got to talk about them because they're an NFL team. But you know what? Whatever, dude. You guys can do your thing. So Chelsea, Klay Thompson starts a small riot. What happened there?
I still haven't quite seen what's going on in the videos. It's not really clear. It just sounds like everybody gets mad at each other. Klay Thompson gets ejected, then starts jawing at the benches. On his way out, more technical fouls. 7 technical fouls in total. Just the Warriors Suns game. I don't know. Breaking news. That's all I know. Came out just before the show. The show was
and the Warriors lost. That's all that matters.
But that too. But 7 technical fouls, and it wasn't a clear the benches, everybody's fighting kind of situation. It was no, rumble at the palace. It was just
dang it.
The refs were just teeing everybody up. So I don't understand.
Yeah, Chelsea sealed it. It's definitely going to be called Pat McAfee because she just called it Rumble in the Palace instead of Malice in the Palace. She's batting 1,000 today. I love it. The information.
I remember the word that
rhymed. No, it's okay. The information has been amazing. It's amazing information you're giving us based on it. But I know people are gonna focus in on did you just say Rumble in the Palace? So perfect. Yankees were swept. Sorry, Chelsea. I know that's another one for you. You're a evil Empire fan.
Spot.
So if it's Rumble at the Palace, can we call it the Royal Rumble?
We've got John Hamm being a marketing campaign, a full-fledged marketing campaign.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's out here doing progressive insurance commercials. He's out here sports washing for Qatar. I swear I have a conspiracy theory that John Hamm is 3 lobbyists in a trench coat. There is no John Hamm. He's just an illusion. It's just lobbyists trying to brainwash you.
You maybe found his right in the end. But you know who's not trying to brainwash anybody and will not be brainwashed? Marshawn Lynch. All he wants to do is what, Wes? Go ahead. What is the only thing he wants to do?
Run through a motherfucker's face.
Exactly.
Over and 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 over.
So
Is there a deeper metaphor to that?
Run through a fucker's face.
So I mean, we get to do some Marshawn Lynch appreciation, whether it be riding the trainer's cart throughout the stadium, whether it be shaking his dreads in Oakland Coliseum before the Raiders left for Las Vegas. He is an amazing unicorn in sports that is just uniquely himself, and people wonder why we're all drawn to him, and it's because he's himself, and we love him some Marshawn. We love us some Marshawn, pardon me. And ESPN, I don't know what they were thinking, but they had him on a live broadcast, and boom, Marshawn went Marshawn.
The best part was he said, "Motherfucker, whoop," and he's like, "I didn't mean that shit," and just like kept going, which is also another FCC fine. But you
got
do
him
you.
twice. Got him twice.
And it was right after he had his sweet little mom next to him, so it was just even more like, oh man.
He has made that family generational money, and I love it. That is amazing. And you guys are amazing for listening to us. We appreciate you. This was another long episode, but stick with us. I promise it's all amazing content. You could reach us at the Sad Fan Cast on Twitter. You can reach me at the Sad Fan 12 on Twitter, and you could reach the whole show on our YouTube channel at the Sad Fan Media Group. So please come back next week. Have a great one.
Go Ducks.